We're here for an interview with the Naples Daily News Editorial Board and Debbie Jordan, a Democratic candidate for District 4 in the Lee County Commission. Welcome, Debbie.
Thank you.
Could you take the first couple of minutes here and acquaint people who aren't familiar with you,
Sure.
who you are and what your background is?
Okay, well, as you said, my name is Debbie Jordan. I'm running for the Lee County Commission, District 4. I am a 40-plus year resident of Lee County. I have owned restaurants in the Cape area. I'm an event planner right now. I was the president of the Florida Restaurant and Lodging Association for Lee and Charlotte for 20-plus years. I don't know if no one else wanted to do it, but I was more than happy to do so. And in saying that, we actually produced founded and produced the Rivers and Blues Festival for 20-some years as well, which was a nonprofit organization that we felt a need in our community to put on so that way we could help feed the community. And with that, we were able to work with the Harry Chapin Food Banks, CCMI, and different food pantries as well. Because we were the restaurant association, it was definitely an important thing. And as the president also, I was an advocate for our issues in Tallahassee and in Washington as well. When the smoking ban came to Lee County, when the liquor surcharge came in, we were there as the voice of the industry. So I do understand how tourism affects us here in Lee County. Also, along with that, I'm a parent. I have my grandchildren, and that's primarily why I'm running, because of my children, my family, and my grandchildren. And knowing that this is a place where I'm hoping that they stay and that they continue to go to school here and never leave, because we're not going to let them leave. We're going to build that wall. So, it's up to us to make sure that our future, which are our kids and our grandchildren, have a place that they can call home, that they can live and have livable wages so that they can have a life as well. And that's pretty much who I am. I'm me. I'm not a polished politician. I'm just an individual, independent thinker who believes that there is something better here for Lee County. And many times I have been that voice for citizens, because I have worked within the community for so long, and I will continue to do so.
How would you characterize the business community's relationship with the Lee County Commission? Is it strained? Is it good? How is that?
Well, I think, and again, going back with the industry that I'm a part of, the hospitality industry, I will tell you that anytime we see a new restaurant coming in, I will go to them because I want to get their doors open. The quicker the doors are open, the quicker we have people working. And working makes people happy, because then they're able to buy and spend money. And it's healthy for the economy. I do find sometimes it's a little bit difficult because of permitting, and one time, you have to go to this location, the next year it's somewhere else. And that's even with the Rivers and Blues Festival. I did that event for 20 years, and I was the person who went and took the time to get all the permits. And every year you'd walk in, and it was a different location or a different person. And we need to make sure that we streamline where people can walk in, get what they have to get, and get the doors open.
As you're going around talking to business operators and so forth, what are you hearing about impact fees in Lee County?
Depends on where you're at. Okay. If you are in, and which group you're in front of as well. Each group has their own thoughts on what the impact fees are. The construction company, of course, likes not having 100% impact fees. You have the Bonita Estero area and different organizations within them who would love to see 100%. All I know is that when we have businesses that are opening, we need to make sure that we have the ability to pay for any type of roads, a means to pay for new schools when people move here and the need comes that we have to build. We need to make sure that we have that money for the infrastructure. And so for us to just say, okay, we're going to take 80% away, in doing so, tell me how you're going to pay for everything when you're taking that away. That is a concern. And I think that we really need to be frugal, and we need to be paying attention to what where that money is going.
What about in terms of the business incentive program in Lee County that was created a few years ago? Can you spend a couple of minutes and talk to us about your perceptions of how that's working, and if it's not working well, how you might change it?
Okay. Okay. My thought on that is, I think that we need to spend more time working on redeveloping areas that have been blight for so many years. By us doing that, you bring back the neighborhoods, you bring back life. Instead of having these buildings that have been sitting there for years on, years and years, that it creates, homelessness there. It's a place for people to come and to stay there. We need to bring it back. We need to bring back the old places. We just need life back into them. Because to me, if you have life in your community, you have a happy community and everybody's working together. The other thing, when we're giving these incentives out, and actually I just read one before I came today, where they want to give X amount of dollars and it's going to create 21 jobs. So when you divide that into what is each job worth? And so the residents are paying, the citizens of Lee County are paying X amount of dollars for 21 jobs, is basically what it's coming down to. And are those 21, out of those 21 positions, what are those positions? And I believe, if I may be misspeaking, but I believe it said that they were going to make an average, and that word average is used very lightly. What is that average based on? From what to what? To come up with, they're going to be making $90,000 or $50,000. How many of those 21 people are making that? And are we pulling them from our pool, from our area? The people who live here right now? Or are we bringing them in? That, to me, I would want to know all those questions. I would want the answer to that. Which I don't believe that they are given those answers.
How would you propose, and kind of what plans would you either try to implement or get passed to help those areas where there is blight, and kind of what areas are you talking about to kind of go?
Well, for instance, no, absolutely. Perfect example. You have half the Dunbar area. You have those buildings that have been sitting there on Edison which is my district, and they've just been sitting there vacant for the longest time between Edison and South Street. Why not create jobs there where people could actually walk there? Can you imagine what that neighborhood would be like? It would just bring them back to a positive thing because they have jobs. North Fort Myers, when you come to the gateway of Fort Myers, the old Walmart, and I know what it is because I've been here, for so many years. That has been empty for so long. Now I believe there's one school in there, so you have, I don't even know how many units are empty, but it's been empty for the longest time. And it is an eyesore. So you coming into, ready to cross that bridge, that's what you see. On your left-hand side, you're going to see emptiness. Not only there's empty restaurants there, and then you look to the right, there's another empty restaurant. So there's nothing there except for emptiness. And I think that we need to try to help. You have smaller businesses here. Try to help them grow. Work with them to become stronger and empower them to be able to help more people that have been here, that have been successful for many years. Allow them to grow. But I would ask questions.
Yeah, but let me come back to that. What would you put in place? I mean, there was the first program with the millions of dollars that were put into that. Is that a kind of a program you would want to do for small businesses to fill up some of those places? What exactly is it?
Yes, I think that the money, there is money sitting out there, but I believe that we need to use that money to encourage the smaller businesses, the mom and pops, and the ones, because mom and pops have been here forever. You know, not the billion-dollar companies. They're already a billion-dollar company. But I think that we should be able to use the incentives on helping, and there's many companies here that just traveling around Lee County, I've found that they manufacture shutters, they manufacture boxes for medicine. There's so many things here in Lee County, you don't even know that they're here until you're actually going around. Let's make them larger. Let's help them to be larger so that way they can employ more.
Okay.
Through incentives.
There's been some suggestion that Lee County should continue to do economic development on its own. Been some suggestions that there should be a regional alliance of Collier, Lee, Charlotte, perhaps. Mm-hmm. What's your viewpoint on how to go about that?
Well, actually, I don't think that that's a bad idea. Again, going back to the Florida Restaurant and Lodging Association, for many years, I was the president of the Lee Charlotte chapter. And 4 years ago, approximately, we decided that every time we were there, first of all, when we were there, we were always helping, and even at home, we would be helping our sister counties. So if Collier needed something, or Sarasota needed something, or Marco needed something, we pulled together and rallied together to make things happen. And I think that, and then what we finally wind up doing, we created a Southwest Florida chapter, which encompassed all of Southwest Florida, because wherever we were at, that's who we were. We were Southwest Florida, in the state of Florida. But I think when you have that mix right now, even with Bonita, Naples. You know, it's like you have a business here in Bonita, but people are living in Naples. You have people that live in Lee County, but they work here. We are already doing crossovers. So I think that just gives you more power.
Talk to us a little bit about how you're doing your campaigning. I mean, obviously a Democrat running in a Republican-dominant county is a difficult challenge. Can you talk to us about how you're going to overcome that in your campaigning?
Well, first of all, I don't believe it is that they are overpowering. My campaign has been a grassroots campaign from the very beginning. I actually got on the ballot by petition because I did not believe that we should have to pay to be on it. That is something that you need to work and earn your way to get on that ballot. And by doing so, we were out there speaking to over 20,000 people to get the petitions. The petitions were signed by all walks of life, all party affiliations, because local politics are local. And I think that we need to remember that. We need to make sure that we have people that are caring and are concerned about our issues as a whole in our community, which is Lee County. And we turned in, the day that we turned in those petitions, that was the best day that you can ever imagine, because you had accomplished, and people, the citizens, allowed you to go through that process because they believe that you should have that right to do so. But we worked endlessly to make that happen everywhere. And we were everywhere in Lee County because, of course, it is a countywide race. Moving forward with that, we are constantly at every event. We have a great team of people, and they are from all walks of life. They're not just one party. We opened up an office in Fort Myers and made it a community office because we wanted it to be open to whomever wanted to come in, regardless of what letters you are. Leave the letter outside and come in, because it's not about the letter. It's about who we are as a whole. And that we have been steadily moving on with that. Phone calling everybody we can possibly call. And not just the Democrats. We call everybody. Because it's not just about the Democrats. It's about all of us.
Debbie, talk a little bit about, if you don't mind, share maybe
Sure.
your top 2 or 3 items on your to-do list that you kind of want to, like, if you get elected, you know, you kind of want to bring up maybe within your first year or so,
Yeah.
or even first 6 months of your term, that you'd really like to see kind of handled right away, either, you know, and talked about during commission meetings.
Okay. Well, I think that the biggest thing that I see that takes place is that listening to the community and actually hearing what they have to say. Because I really don't see that taking place. The incident with River Hall was one. The citizens bought their homes out there. You know, they have a land use plan. They wanted the developers to go through the process, but yet nobody heard them. And I watched that meeting and I listened to the people out there in the Alva area. But to me, if that is that's their home. We need to make sure that we are listening to what they have to say. Public transportation. Oh my goodness. You make decisions based on ridership is down. Of course ridership is down because you've taken away hours from there. So it's going to go down. But have you ever been on a bus to even make a decision whether or not it's good or bad? Have you ever taken the time to talk to the people that ride it? I have. I have gotten on that bus and rode that bus and learned the ways around Lee County. And it's not just people who can't afford it, can't afford a car, which is what you hear so often. It's about real lives, real people, people who go to work by the bus, who choose not to drive because they're worried about, you know, our area, the space, the earth. So they rather take the bus than drive a car. You know, they ride their bikes and they attach it to the bus and they continue on. You have elders, seniors, who it's easier for them to get on the bus than to be frustrated in the traffic. So that, to me, and in the blind services, I mean, that's their only means of getting out there. But when you ask any of them, have you ever been on a bus? The answer is, no, I don't need to. That's not an answer. You need to be out there and find out the real answers. Even if you don't want to, do it.
As far as keeping up with what the Lee County Commission has been doing and running your business at the same time, are you attending meetings? Have you been able to attend meetings? Do you watch them? What do you do?
I do both. Actually, if I'm not at the meeting, I'm at the meeting online. So I have computers where I'm sending out proposals, but I'm always an earshot away from what's going on. And then also I will send a team member there as well, a volunteer that will go there. So we have in-house, and of course you can see it's live. So you see everything that's taking place. You can see their expression on their face. You can know if they're caring. You can see. You can read what they're doing before they even say it.
Now, if you get elected, what are you going to devote full time to the
Absolutely,
commission? I mean, will you still
absolutely.
be the president of the, or will you be able to handle both?
Well, I'm
or-
not the
or-
president of the.
Oh, it's passed.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, like you said, you're
Yeah,
passed.
passed.
Okay.
Last year was my last year. I gave it to somebody else.
Okay. So this
Yeah.
would definitely, the commission would be a full time job.
Absolutely.
Got it. Okay.
110%.
Okay.
In terms of what you've seen from meetings and ones you've attended, how's the county manager doing in your estimation, job performance wise?
I think that there are those days where he's trying to get a direct answer. What is it that you want me to do? And sometimes it's not clear to him, or it appears that it's not clear to him, because he'll ask it several times. And sometimes he seems like he gets a little bit frustrated, especially when they were speaking of budget issues. So I do and I guess being in the business that I'm in, and it is a business with people, that you do have that opportunity to see people and kind of know how they are or how they're acting or thinking even. But I do believe that he is trying to do a good job. But there again, he is under the county commission. So if there is something that is not going right, it behooves them to make sure that it is taking place right.
Did you follow what happened with the employees in animal services and how that happened and what they said in terms of the manager's style of management? And if you did follow that, did you have any thoughts about how that was handled?
You know what? I really don't know too much about it. I know that there were some incidents where they felt that there were some discrimination or they were not being heard. But again, I think that, as a commission, it is your responsibility to make sure that they are following through all the steps. That's why there is EEOC, and that is their job to make sure that they get all the facts. And if there is something going on wrong, that they handle that.
Can you talk a little bit about where you stand on Amendment 2, and particularly if it passes, should it be the county commission's role to regulate and protect, its citizens from having pot shops on every street corner, as some people fear? Mm-hmm.
Well, I noticed last night on the news there was quite a bit going on about that. Amendment 2, well, it's going to the ballot. Mm-hmm. So the citizens will vote on whether it's going to be law or not. Mm-hmm. And at that point in time, we are going to have to make sure that I do believe it has to be regulated. We can't, just like a prescription, it is medical marijuana. And we need to make sure that if it is for medical need, it's going to be addressed as such. Because I certainly would not want it to be sitting on every single corner. I've been to California and I've seen where you could just walk in and walk out. I would not want that here.
Okay.
I want to make sure that it is regulated. And as I said, I watched the news last night and I seen how people are already trying to put in place how to stop it from even coming here into the different counties.
Right. Yeah, that's why I bring that up, because there are some cities and even counties, considering already jumping before it even, so I was wondering if you thought the commission should take that up too and say, there cannot be in certain areas or.
Well, but that's the way it is with bars right now too. So I mean, there's already regulations for certain things, and again, it's for medical purposes. It's not supposed to be a free-for-all. And I think that we have to be mindful of that. That is the reason why it passes or not passes.
Okay.
But I do believe they're already working on it in the state level to figure out how that will be dispensed.
Right.
Yeah.
If we could talk about a couple of issues that are particularly important to South Lee County. Bonita wants to start their own ambulance transport service in the fire department. What's your feelings about that?
Actually, I was just there the other night. And for years, going back many, many years, there's always been the EMS and the fire department. And that has been an ongoing thing since I was 17. I remember them fighting over that. I do understand the makeup of, you want to make sure that you can, if there's a 911 call, that you're able to get there 2.5 minutes, I believe is what it quoted, the time frame for that. And while I was speaking to the one gentleman in Bonita at the station, I understand how they have everything in there because they're trained as EMS, but then what do? They're holding that person until the EMS gets there. So I don't know all the details of that, but when you think logically, you're thinking about that, it doesn't make sense to stop. It's like, let's get this person medical treatment. save lives. That's what you do.
The other thing other issue that's big in South Lake County is the incorporation of Estero. Do you have any thoughts about whether that should?
Well, that is another topic that is will be going to the ballot, and listening to their meetings and how they want to make it a village versus a city, because a village encompasses all people, and that's what they are trying to be, a village of all of Acero. So once that does go on the ballot and they vote on it, when it does become, if it does become the village as they wish it to be, then it's definitely going to behoove the county to work with them to make it as easy as possible to make things happen. And I know they're looking for buildings because they don't have a set building, for them as of yet. And of course, then they would have to get a manager, and there's a lot of things that they would have to make happen rather quickly afterwards. And I know they're all gearing up to do so. It's just when.
They're talking about wanting to contract with the county government in terms of some services. Do you have any concerns about that? Do you think that that's okay?
No, I don't have any concerns. Again, regardless if it's the city of Cape Coral, there's 5 cities within Lee County, but it's still one Lee County. So we have to do and work with all of them. And that's one thing I know that I'm able to do because I know the mayors. I've been here long enough to know them, and the same with the gentlemen who sit on the county commission right now. I've known them for many years, so I would not have any issue with working. I'm a team builder, and I believe that you have to work together to accomplish anything in life.
Can you talk a little bit about why you think a voter should choose you over the opponent?
Oh, absolutely. One is my years of experience in the workforce, period. Knowing how that you must be able to, pay your bills as a business to keep your lights on, which the employees then depend on you. You have lives that you're, dealing with. As far as being involved in the community, I've always been involved in the community. I am part of the NAACP. I sit on that executive board, and I work with youth to make sure that our next generation is ready for whatever comes on. I pay attention to what's going on in the education, and I walk with the city of Fort Myers Police Department because I think our area, we have to have a good, safe environment with a great education system and a place where you can find and have a great job with a livable wage. That in itself would bring people here. And clean water, our beautiful beaches, we have the sunshine, we have those things here. We just need to make sure that we keep all of that. And by being involved and engaged in the community and in the process that goes on, not just in one area, in all of Lee County, I think that is how I am the better choice because I have been doing that. It's not something that I've been paid to do. I've done it because I felt that it was my duty to do that as a citizen of Lee County.
You mentioned clean water and the environment. Has
Yes.
the commission done enough in terms of protecting the Caloosahatchee River and the water coming into it?
No, I don't believe that they have. I think now they're getting more active since you have more people fighting for, whether are we going to do Plant 6? Are we going to open up, let the water run south? You have different community activists that are just constantly talking about the water. But that is our livelihood. We definitely need clean water here because people have choices. They don't have to come here to Lee County. They can go to the Bahamas. So we want to make sure that we always have the clean water, and it's for our health reasons. When you have red tide, and I know firsthand because my grandchildren have, asthma, and we are not that close to the beach, but when that comes in, it definitely affects them. And working out at the beach and seeing the kills on the beach, your customers do not want to see that. And that's the quickest way to have someone leave to go somewhere else, which of course affects our economy. So that is vitally important.
Half an hour goes by very quickly. We're almost up to a half an hour. Any
We
final
are.
thoughts you want to add?
No, I just, I'm just looking for the people to hopefully, pick the best person and forget about the party politics for once and look at what is needed for our area. Because this is where we live.